Here to better help us understand what's going on with these documents that were released today are attorneys Corey Rosensteel and Matt Fleishman. So my first question for you, these were actually filed on May the 12th. What could have been going on between then and now for them to be just released today?
Well, of course, it would be conjecture on our part because we don't know what happened behind closed doors in this case, but it's certainly possible that there's been more cooperation since May 12th. Certainly the documents that were filed today lead us to believe that there's going to be further action taken against some other individuals. As the defense attorney in a case like this, you may have been more comfortable with a signed plea agreement before you gave complete cooperation. But of course, we don't know.
We're going to talk a little bit more about possibly other names coming down, but first I want to talk also about the time. It says a maximum of 20 years. Matt, can we expect anywhere near that?
No, I don't think so. I think what you're going to get is a substantial reduction of this time. At the end of the day, the judge is going to decide how much time he's going to face. I mean, these are guidelines, and so the judge will use these guidelines. But in exchange for cooperation, naming names, clearly there's going to be a reduction of this time. So again, we'd be guessing at this point, but I think it's reasonable to assume anywhere between 3 to 6 years is potentially what he might be looking at.
You guys have both mentioned naming names. So if we are going to see other dominoes fall, is it to someone's benefit who may be named to come forward sooner rather than later?
I mean, that's a fair question. You know, the problem is, as the defendant, you don't want to be the last person with when the music stops and all the chairs are taken. So if you feel like you're going to get named by canon, it certainly might be in your interest to get in first and potentially name somebody else. Of course, what you don't know is whether you're going to get named, and what you might do is sort of wake the sleeping giant and get yourself into trouble. It's a tough call.
Sounds like a huge gamble.
It's a gamble.
Let's talk about the moral compass for a minute. Do you guys think that it's better to prosecute someone to the fullest extent of the law or strike a plea deal in hopes of bringing in more fish, so to speak? Corey?
Well, I think in this case, the U.S. Attorney's Office has to consider this to be a win. Between them and law enforcement, they got this. They pursued this individual. They got him. They got him on the serious charges here. There's a very high likelihood at this point of him spending a significant amount of time in jail. It's a high-profile case. I think that it would be difficult to justify going to trial on this when you've got this good of a plea arrangement at this point, and you've gotten this good of cooperation. I think that a show trial probably would not be in your best interest. I think the federal law enforcement at this point considers this a W.
I don't think you agree with that, do you, Matt?
No, not in the least. My position would be, to be frank, you prosecute to the fullest extent, and if that means having a trial and Cannon going to be incarcerated for the next 20 years, so be it. I don't think society at large is going to gain by him naming names on some very low-level business people. So I think society would be better off, to be frank, if he goes away for the fullest extent.
Well, we'll definitely see, because he is expected to plead guilty tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have you guys back. We thank you so much for joining us today. We have Matt Fleishman, Corey Rosensteel. See you again soon.
Thank you.